Hey beauties, good evening to you. Now I'm going to make a post, and people are going to almost take God off the cross, put him back up and take him off, put him back up, take him off, and believe that I'm aligned to a political party. I really and truly am not. But I'm I'm examining a lot of things, you know, as much as I can remember. And in general, I'm not saying in all cases, the only times, all right, let me speak. Let me try to be very fair and balanced. The only times I recall hearing Jamaicans speak highly of, for example, the PNP, was when the former Prime Minister, the late, great, and notable Michael Manley, I can't speak about his father. I have no clue about him. I don't even remember what year they said he had died. And I would have been very, very young when Michael Manley would have been the prime minister. I remember he had gotten ill and had demitted office, and it was the deputy prime minister at the time. It was PJ Patterson that took over and then continued, his trend for about 14 years. But that was when he took over, plus his added 2 terms. All right. So basically 2.5 terms. I think it's something like that. And I remember Jamaicans, when they spoke about him, or when they still speak about him, his name lives on. He left a legacy. Yes, I've heard people say this and that he did whatever it is as it relates to communism and whatnot. But in general, I never really heard people speaking ill of him, like his character. They may not have liked a choice he had made. And that's life. You're not going to agree with everything that I say, or everything that I do. But I may think that I'm making the best choice. I heard that he was so for the people that he would, back in the day when people would write letters, he would respond to basic, if not all, 90% of it. And he tried to live a very fair and balanced life. He tried his best, I guess, to use the people money wisely. I kid you not, he's the only, former prime minister that, from the PNP I'm talking about. Mama P didn't get, they beat her so badly that you couldn't even hear the blessing through the cursing, so to speak. In other words, they criticized her education, they criticized her look. I remember they made terrible memes with her, like Barack whining behind her. It was just rude and awful, putting her against a monkey, and because she said she's not afraid of no boy and a girl. The thing, and it was just awful. So whatever she had done, the curses, let me put it that way, were so loud you can't even recall. But one thing I can tell you though, I remember with her, is that when she went abroad, they loved her so much, just as how they respect and accept Mia Motley, the great Mia Motley. Mama P was loved by the foreigners, the foreign nationals. So when Jamaicans, they're calling her dunce and stupid and uneducated and all the negative words, they were receptive to her. She could create change. And I was told that she was instrumental in saving one of our former prime minister's lives from the other side, because I've realized that they were good friends, and that's common with the two sides. You have people they're friends, they befriend people from the other side, and that's fine. And as it regards the JLP now, I don't know about Bustamante. I know some people, it's nowadays I hear some people say that because he wasn't so educated, is like he was against it, education. But still, I never really heard anybody tearing down his character to say he was evil and wicked. I think maybe a lot of what I've heard people say, it meant more that he may have been foolish, if what they say was so. Like putting down education, it would be more on the base of foolish. And that could be as a result of maybe the type of education or the lack thereof that he had. But the two political parties, two family members, I think deep in their hearts they meant well for the people, Norman Manley and Bustamante. All right, when Bruce Golding came in power, I don't want people to tell me before he became prime minister and whatever may have happened. But when he came in power, I saw the trajectory of where Jamaica would have been on the path to prosperity, for blessings, for growth and development to be had in our country. I felt it as a youngster. I said, yes, I saw it. So, we had, so let's not talk about like Norman Manley, his son, Michael Manley, or Bustamante, his other relative there. But we're talking about, you had Mama P, and you had Bruce Golding. But in general, for years, I'm going to say this. I've often heard people talk about this country as a PNP country. I didn't like it because I've often said if you give a political party too much power and too much autonomy, the power may get to their heads and they may become dictatorial and not rule and reign with fairness, with justice, with compassion, with mercy that a country needs, and accountability. So I'm never normally one for one party just going and going and reigning and reigning. I'm never one for that. Maybe 2 terms at best, or a term, and worst case 3, but nothing above that. This ongoing, the same, no, because this thing gets to people's mind. But in all of the decadence, in all of the negatives that even PJ Patterson, Portia Simpson Miller faced and whatnot, boy, I don't know if I've ever heard, maybe I was too young then, but I'm not sure I've heard, probably because of social media, of people speaking terribly about our present reigning government. I have never heard such or feel such anger as I'm feeling now. And I'm wondering if they're not cognizant of what is happening in the country. You had to recall, you saw how people beat you guys badly because you had raised the parliamentarian salaries, although it would have been for both sides, for both sides. And it doesn't mean that PNP is off the hook. For 100%, 200, 300, depending on where you fell on the spectrum. And then you wanted to raise the senators to about 100 and odd percent. And I think it was Peter Bunting that said, are you guys crazy? I'm wondering. But you come like, we are the fool ones though, Jamaican people. Because I have been, and many others have been, crying out for public sector workers' salaries to increase in a fair way. This 20%, which was ridiculous, because the finance minister split it up, was it 5, 10, 10, or 10, 5? I don't remember how it go. I don't, or 5, 5, 10, 10, 5, 5, 10, or 5, 10, 5. Not even to say to himself, no, it looks bad. Let us raise the public sector workers across the board. Everybody, civil servants, nurses, doctors, everyone, teachers, firefighters, this one to 50%. You're going to say because a mass of people are whole, it's a number, but this is just a small sector. But you have a better salary nonetheless. Still, even with all the people pulled together, your salaries are still better than the regular Joe in public sector. Even though you recant and you recalled, I just said to myself, for you to even come and push that to the public, you guys must be, if I'm going to say I'm disrespectful, but it seems as if you're not on mad puss piss pill. Mad puss piss pill. Because this cannot be real. I remember when, from Barack came to Jamaica and afterwards, I heard that how many million coming to Jamaica, 30 odd million US, 100 and odd million, 400 and odd million, this and that. Pothole at kill the road, my poor car can't manage because that's a new car I have. And I have expenses and things to pay. I can't even think about changing that right now. The pothole them are mash up. It doesn't even have to be pothole. The roads are awful, they're ruggedy, coarse, raggedy, terrible, sharp. I mean, you could use that and cut up your meat, your Sunday dinner meat to hold the road rough. I don't bother need a knife. Look at the schools. When you look at the schools, the teachers, the students almost looking like how the schools look. No disrespect to them. The schools them hot. They look dreary. The hospitals look, the machines not even working. Public sector workers' salaries are ridiculous. They can't even afford 10 things. And I pleaded and said, you can raise it to 50%. But greed and arrogance is the order of the day, or they are the order of the day. No, man. Jamaican people, are we really going to just sit back and watch this? Am I even afraid, that we go switch, and as Jamaican would have said, swap black dog for monkey, because all of them promise and everybody has lied. Guys, follow me on TikTok. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please share this message.